What really happened to Barry Weiss from Storage Wars? One minute, he was everyone's favorite with his fun personality and cool sunglasses, and the next he was gone. No goodbye, no heads up, he just disappeared from our TV screens. But the real story behind why he left so suddenly isn't simple at all. From scary health problems to decisions made behind the scenes that surprised even people working on the show, there's way more to Barry's story than you know. Stick with us as we discover what really happened to the collector. Way before Barry Weiss became the quirky, unique treasure hunter that millions of TV watchers loved on Storage Wars, he was already making lots of money in the most surprising place, the produce business. Working with his brother, Barry spent over 20 years selling fruits and vegetables to stores, continuing a family business that his grandfather had started. The business wasn't just doing well, it was making tons of money, giving Barry the kind of wealth that would later let him buy storage units just for fun rather than because he needed the money. The produce business gave Barry something most reality TV stars never have: total money freedom. While other people on Storage Wars were really trying to pay their bills through the stuff they won at auctions, Barry could afford to keep the awesome things he found instead of selling them to make money. This basic difference in why he was doing it would become one of his most important features on the show. But there's more to Barry's life before television than just vegetables and fruits. Barry's connection to the world of entertainment and interesting people goes back way further than most people know. In a cool twist, Barry actually showed up in a Discovery Channel show called Motorcycle Mania 3 with Jesse James, the famous motorcycle builder and ex-husband of Sandra Bullock. What makes this connection even more interesting is that Barry is Jesse James' godfather. A friendship that shows Barry's long history in the motorcycle and custom car world that would later become such a big part of his TV personality. When A&E started Storage Wars in 2010, they hit the jackpot with a group of people that each brought something special to the table. Dave Hester brought toughness and drama. Jared Schultz and Brandy Passani brought the everyday married couple feel. And Daryl Sheets brought the serious professional buyer style. But Barry Weiss brought something completely different. He brought excitement, surprises, and a real love for the treasure hunt that had nothing to do with making money. From his very first time on the show, Barry stood out like a peacock among regular birds. While other buyers showed up in normal vehicles and wore clothes, Barry would show up in everything from old hot rods to custom motorcycles, always dressed in his special style of funny t-shirts, leather jackets, and unique sunglasses. His arrivals became famous among fans who would watch just to see what crazy vehicle he would come in next. One memorable episode showed Barry arriving in a convertible painted to look like a watermelon complete with seeds, while another saw him pull up in an old hearse that he decorated with skulls and crossbones. The nickname, The Collector, wasn't just a catchy name. It perfectly showed Barry's way of doing the storage auction game. Unlike his competitors who saw money in every box, Barry saw possible additions to his already huge collection of antiques, old items, and weird interesting things. His deep knowledge of collectibles often gave him an advantage in finding valuable items that others might miss, but more importantly, it made him really excited about the process of finding stuff. Barry's wealth became obvious not just through his expensive vehicles and clothes, but through how he bid. He would often bid on units that other buyers thought were too risky or wouldn't make money simply because something about them made him curious. In one really memorable episode, Barry won a unit that had mostly old books and paper stuff, things that other buyers usually avoid because they're hard to sell and don't make much money. While his competitors rolled their eyes at what they saw as a wasted bid, Barry found several rare first edition books and old magazines that were worth thousands of dollars to collectors. What made Barry's way so refreshing was his real excitement for the unexpected. In another classic episode, he found a unit filled with what looked like junk from someone's garage, including old tools, random car parts, and boxes of random items. While other buyers would have been disappointed, Barry was thrilled when he found a rare old motorcycle engine buried under the mess. The engine, which looked like scrap metal to people who didn't know better, turned out to be from a 1940s Indian motorcycle and was worth more than Barry had paid for the whole unit. Barry's interactions with other people on the show often gave us some of the most fun moments. His relaxed attitude and obvious wealth sometimes annoyed more serious buyers like Dave Hester, who took the business side of storage auctions very seriously. In one heated argument, Dave accused Barry of making prices go up unnecessarily because he didn't need the money. Barry responded with his typical humor, saying that Dave should try having more fun with it instead of treating it like a life or death competition. The relationship between Barry and the husband and wife team of Jared and Brandy was really interesting to watch. While they often struggled to make good profits from what they bought, Barry would casually mention keeping items that were worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because he liked them. This difference in approach sometimes caused tension, but it also gave valuable learning chances, as Barry would often share his knowledge about the history and value of different collectibles with his fellow buyers. Season 4 of Storage Wars was a big turning point for the show when both Barry Weiss and Dave Hester left. While Dave's exit was full of drama and legal fights with the network, Barry's leaving was much more friendly and showed his personal choice to move on to other projects. The show's producers clearly understood how valuable Barry was to the series, as shown by their continued efforts to bring him back in different ways over the years. Barry's decision to leave Storage Wars wasn't because of conflict or being unhappy with the show. Instead, it showed his desire to go back to what he jokingly called being a professional slacker, a lifestyle that his money success had given him long before he became a TV personality. In interviews, Barry explained that he had done what he wanted to do with the show and wanted to leave while it was still popular and successful rather than staying too long and possibly damaging his good relationship with both the network and the fans. The impact of Barry leaving Storage Wars was noticed right away. While the show continued with its remaining cast members and brought in new people, many fans felt that something important was missing without Barry's unique energy and approach. His absence created an empty space that was hard to fill, as no other cast member could copy his mix of wealth, knowledge, humor, and real excitement for the treasure hunting part of storage auctions. Barry's adult children, Julie and Jack, have been surprisingly supportive of their dad's television career. Rather than being embarrassed by his quirky on-screen personality, they've accepted his fame and often show pride in what he's accomplished. Barry has mentioned in interviews that his kids get a kick out of his celebrity status and enjoys seeing their father do something he's really passionate about, even if it's unusual for someone his age. The success of Storage Wars opened doors for Barry to try other television opportunities, leading to the creation of Buried Treasure, a spin-off series that started shortly after he left the main show. This new show gave Barry the chance to go beyond storage auctions and explore his bigger interests in antiques, collectibles, and unusual vehicles. The show's style let viewers see more of Barry's personality and knowledge while following him on adventures across the country. Buried Treasure showed a different side of Barry's collecting passion, taking him to antique shops, estate sales, and private collections all over America. The show's producers encouraged Barry to use unusual ways of traveling, leading to some memorable episodes where he traveled in everything from old motorcycles to custom-built vehicles. One really entertaining episode showed Barry traveling through Amish country in a horse-drawn buggy while searching for traditional handmade items and learning about the community's way of simple living. The spin-off also let Barry reconnect with some of his former Storage Wars co-workers in guest appearances, creating a feeling of connection for fans who missed seeing the original cast interact. These reunions often gave us some of the show's best moments, as the chemistry between Barry and his former co-stars stayed strong despite their different career paths. Despite its creative potential and Barry's likable hosting, Buried Treasure had trouble finding the same audience that had loved Storage Wars. The show's format, while interesting, didn't have the competitive tension and unpredictability that made storage auctions so exciting to viewers. After just 8 episodes, the network decided not to continue the series, leaving Barry without a regular TV show for the first time in several years. The cancellation of Buried Treasure marked the beginning of a quieter time in Barry's public life. While he continued to pursue his collecting interests and keep his huge network of contacts in the antique and collectible world, he mostly stepped away from the spotlight that had defined his life during the Storage Wars years. This change let him focus on personal interests and spend more time with his family, especially his grandson Jack, who had become an important part of his life. In April 2019, Barry's pretty peaceful retirement from television was dramatically interrupted by a serious motorcycle accident that would change his life forever. The incident happened while Barry was out riding with his friend Jamie Robinson of MotoGP, doing one of his favorite fun activities. According to reports, a car unexpectedly pulled out of a parking space directly into their path, giving Barry and his friend no time to avoid the crash. The accident caused severe injuries to Barry's chest and legs, including internal damage and multiple broken bones that needed immediate medical care. The impact was so bad that Barry was in the hospital for 2 months, spending much of that time in the intensive care unit, while doctors worked to stabilize his condition and fix his various injuries. The recovery process was long and painful, needing multiple surgeries and lots of physical therapy. During his time in the hospital, rumors began spreading on social media that Barry had died from his injuries. These false reports spread quickly through fan communities and gossip websites, causing a lot of distress among Storage Wars viewers who had followed Barry's career for years. The false information showed how much Barry meant to fans and how his absence from public life had been noticed and felt by many people. Barry's recovery was slower and harder than many people realized. The accident had affected not just his physical health, but also his ability to do many of the activities that had defined his lifestyle for decades. Motorcycle riding, which had been both a passion and a regular part of his TV appearances, became impossible during his recovery time and stayed limited even after he was released from the hospital. The accident also changed Barry's approach to taking risks and having adventures. While he had always been known for his willingness to try new experiences and take calculated risks in his collecting activities, the near-death experience forced him to rethink his priorities and make changes to his lifestyle. Friends and family noted that Barry became more careful and thoughtful about his activities, though he kept his basic optimism and humor throughout the recovery process. Following his recovery, Barry's relationship with the Storage Wars show took another unexpected turn with the creation of Storage Wars, Barry Strikes Back. This new spin-off took a different approach, showing Barry alongside his friend Kenny Crossley as they gave commentary and behind-the-scenes insights while watching old episodes of the original series. The format was basically a reaction show, letting Barry share stories and perspectives that viewers had never heard before. While Barry Strikes Back gave fans a chance to see their favorite treasure hunter again, the show faced criticism for feeling like a desperate attempt to recycle old content rather than create something really new. Many viewers felt that the commentary format, while sometimes entertaining, didn't capture the excitement and unpredictability that had made Barry's original Storage Wars appearances so exciting. The show's use of existing footage also limited Barry's ability to show his knowledge and personality in fresh ways. The format of Barry Strikes Back also showed how much Barry had changed since his original Storage Wars days. While he kept his humor and knowledge, the physical problems from his accident were sometimes obvious and his energy level seemed different from his earlier TV appearances. These changes weren't necessarily bad, but they represented a new phase in Barry's life and career that some fans found hard to adjust to. After just 10 episodes, Barry Strikes Back was canceled, marking another disappointment in Barry's efforts to keep a regular TV presence. The show's failure seemed to prove that lightning rarely strikes twice in the same place, and that recreating the magic of Storage Wars was harder than anyone had thought. For Barry, the cancellation represented another change point in his evolving relationship with television and fame. Despite the various setbacks and changes in his TV career, Barry has continued to pursue his passion for motorcycles and old vehicles. In a 2017 interview, he talked about his interest in creating shows that would combine his love of two-wheeled and four-wheeled transportation with his travel experiences. His vision involved exploring different cultures and communities around the world, while focusing on their unique approaches to transportation and craftsmanship. Barry's knowledge of motorcycles and old cars goes far beyond what most Storage Wars viewers ever saw. His knowledge covers everything from classic American muscle cars to rare European motorcycles, and he's kept relationships with builders, collectors, and fans throughout the car world. This network of connections has given him opportunities to participate in shows, events, and private sales that keep him involved with his passion even when he's not on television. The relationship between Barry and his grandson Jack has become more and more important in his life, especially as he has stepped back from the demanding schedule of regular TV production. Barry often talks about how much he enjoys spending time with Jack and watching him grow up, describing the experience as one of the most rewarding parts of his current life. The grandfather-grandson bond has given Barry a new way of looking at what matters most and has influenced his decisions about how to spend his time and energy. Barry's personal life has stayed pretty private throughout his years in the public eye. He's been divorced for over 30 years and has chosen to stay single, often joking that he has plenty of stuff to keep him busy when asked about his relationship status. His decision to put his collecting interests, family relationships, and personal freedom over romantic commitments shows his overall approach to life, choosing what brings him joy and happiness rather than what others might expect. The wealth that Barry made through his produce business has given him the freedom to make choices based on personal satisfaction rather than money needs. This freedom has been both a blessing and a source of some criticism from Storage Wars fans who felt that his money advantages made the competition unfair. However, Barry's response to such criticism has always been that he was on the show for entertainment value rather than profit, and that his approach added a different side to the series that viewers seem to enjoy. Barry's collecting philosophy has stayed the same throughout his different career phases. He has always been more interested in the story behind an item than how much money it's worth, and he's kept his preference for keeping interesting pieces rather than selling them for profit. This approach has resulted in a huge personal collection that includes everything from old motorcycles and cars to rare antiques and unusual interesting things that most people would never think to collect. The storage auction world has changed a lot since Barry's original Storage Wars days, with more competition, higher prices, and smarter buyers making it harder for casual people to find valuable items. Barry's early success on the show happened during a time when storage auctions were less mainstream and the competition was less intense. The popularity of Storage Wars itself helped cause changes in the industry that made Barry's laid-back approach less possible for newer people. After nearly 10 years away from regular Storage Wars appearances, Barry made a surprising return to the show for its 14th season. His comeback was carefully planned to make the biggest impact, with producers building excitement through teasers and promotional materials that emphasized his return. The marketing campaign worked, creating significant buzz among longtime fans who had never stopped hoping to see Barry back in action. If there's one thing we know for sure, it's that Barry Weiss shows something increasingly rare in reality television. A personality who stayed true to himself throughout his different career phases. Whether he was arriving at storage auctions in exotic vehicles, sharing his knowledge about antiques, or recovering from serious injuries, Barry has always approached life with humor, toughness, and real excitement. His story continues to change, and fans stay interested in whatever direction his adventures might take him next. If you were a fan of Barry like we were, let us know your favorite moment from Storage Wars in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another behind the scenes.